Just letting you know, I put this video on 10 minutes because I have a lot to say. What pushed me over the edge this morning is the announcement that the FDA is going to consider banning red dye number 3. I've been saying this shit for at least 20 years. In fact, I have been running my mouth since 1996. I've been in Neil Bortz's face. I've been on Royal Marshall's talk show. Rest in peace, Royal Marshall. And in case you don't know who he is, he was actually the co-host on Neil Bortz's talk radio show in the Atlanta public radio sector. And you might ask, why did red dye number 3 push you over the edge today, Shannon? Because like I said, I've been spouting this shit since 1996. Have any of you taken a humanities class? Have any of you read The Last Snowflake? Have any of you read 1984? There are those out there that think that if 1984 is actually going to come into fruition, that it's going to happen like that. But no, we have been frogs in a pot of water that has been slowly turned up. And we're almost to boiling. And what pisses me off is that when I say these things and have said these things, it's like, oh, she's just crazy. Oh, she's a conspiracy theorist. Oh, mom is just crazy. You can go back and look at all of my Facebook posts since I've had Facebook since 2009 and see that I have been saying this shit. You can go back and read every single one of my journals and see that I have written about this shit because I've kept a journal since 1996. You can go back and ask any of my exes if I have been yelling this shit for fucking years. Let's talk about abortion. Those of you who say that, oh, it should have gone back to the states because the states will decide and the states will make exceptions for it. Well, check out what fucking Indiana did. Now they're saying that, yes, there is an exception to it for SA or grape, but the victim has to prove with a doctor's affidavit that this happened. So let's just re-traumatize the victim. I am 53 years old and I have been watching the orange clown motherfucker since he was on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and he was a piece of shit then. And I'm not saying that the blue team is all that much better, but I honestly feel like we are heading into 1930s. Are you hearing the things that he has said in his campaign this time? And no, maybe he didn't implement those things in his 2016 term, but he had people who were pushing back. Have you been watching the confirmation hearings and how they are evading every single question that is being asked of them when they are pushed? And yet you make fun of a woman because she has a quirky laugh and she is a little bit goofy. Have you seen how goofy the muskrat is? Do I think that she is going to be perfect? No, but I feel like with her in office, we will have just a moment to breathe and reassess. Mass deportations are going to cost us $315 billion to move everybody that he is wanting to move back to another country. They bring in $96 billion per year in taxes. And for those of you who think that tariffs are going to bring jobs back to the United States, let's just take steel, for example. Of the 20 companies that produce steel, 9 of them are in China. Yes, we have steel mills here. Many of them have not been running for at least a decade. So take into consideration that you're going to have to bring those steel mills back up to par so that they are running functionally. You're going to have to hire American workers. You're going to have to hire them at a minimum of minimum wage, $7.25. They're going to have to pay union dues. You're going to have to pay health insurance. It is not going to be cost effective to bring those jobs back to the United States. They're going to take them to India and Vietnam or another country. The majority of jobs are not going to be brought back here to the United States. And when you mass deport the people who are in agriculture, are you going to be picking avocados and citrus? I'm going to give you an anecdotal example of how brainwashed some people are in this country. I've known my ex since 2001. And since then, I have been telling him, red dye number 3 is not good for you. Red dye number 3 can cause thyroid cancer. Red dye number 3 can lead to ADHD. Plastics, forever chemicals. You need to go BPA free. There are certain foods that are better eaten when they're eaten organically. Macronutrients are important. You need to count your carbs, fats, and protein. There's a difference between authoritative and authoritarian parenting. Do as I say, not as I do is a bullshit paradigm. Blood is thicker than water is another bullshit paradigm. Evangelical Christianity stole from paganism. And you have to read beyond the headlines. Fox News is a bunch of pundits spouting their opinions. I will be one of the first people to admit when I am wrong. And if I am wrong about the incoming presidency and he ends up being the benevolent leader that some people think that he's going to be and has our best interests at heart, then I will say, you were right and I was wrong. And maybe I won't be around because it's been 30 years that I've been running my mouth about this shit. Maybe I won't be around when we discover how things are going to end up. But if you do a little research into past history, I think that I may be somewhat right. Some of my family thinks that I'm a little bit extreme, and so be it. But when I tell you things, just take it into consideration. And here's a few topics that I would love for everyone to research. Oscarville, Rosewood, Lake Lanier. The fact that Lyndon B. Johnson put in an order and was in cahoots with Reagan about making colleges not free anymore because they wanted to keep the elites educated. That was a terribly put together sentence. Sorry to my high school English teacher. What some people fail to recognize is that history has been extremely whitewashed. If you want to read The Delectable Negro. Read Audre Lorde. If you don't want to read, find a podcast on those subjects. Behind the Bastards is a great podcast to check out. I know this video was a little bit all over the place, a lot all over the place, but I'm so tired of being dismissed and coming across as a conspiracy theorist when if you just read a little bit or if you just waited a little bit, that you would see that some of the things that I have said are coming to fruition. And I'm not being arrogant and I'm not being conceited about all of this. I'm just saying, like, fucking pay attention. Fucking read. Stop just reading headlines. Start changing the algorithm in your search engine so that you can see both sides of the story. Because in the middle is always the truth. And as I've said before, I am a terrible content creator here on this app. So I am moving to Substack and Medium because I write a whole lot better than I video. So if you want to follow me there, you can do that. It's The Suburban Misfit. I also have a podcast, which I have not done anything in quite a while, but I probably will start up again. That's also The Suburban Misfit on Apple and Spotify. And I'm not doing captions here because I've cussed way too much and I don't feel like fucking editing. And as Fiona Apple said, this world is bullshit.